Assalamu alaikum. Okay, we're live now. And today I want you to get ready to hear your 6.5 tips for successful global marketing. So hang on, we're going to get to them. I'm Wendy Pease from Rapport International, where we connect you to anyone, anywhere in the world with high quality translations in over 200 languages. Every Thursday, I go live at 11:30 East Coast time to discuss translation trends and questions, cultural fun facts, and today's topic, global marketing. Don't forget, you can ask any questions in the chat. I'll monitor them. I'll answer them at the end. And if you're here listening to me, put that in the comment and where you are in the world today. That's always fun to see. Okay, so number one on our 6.5 tips for successful global marketing. Number one is strategy. Start with your strategy. Just don't be reactive. You want to study the marketing trends and you want to go back to your marketing 3 C's. Anybody know what they are? That's a standard marketing discipline that you learn in Marketing 101 if you're in college or MBA school. It's the customer. Look at the customer and what they want, what they desire. Then you have to look at the competition. How much are you going in to compete? A lot of US companies want to go to the UK first because they speak English. And what happens is they end up competing with all the other American companies that are going into the UK. So think about the competition and what's the best market for you. And then number three, the company. Are there any adaptations that you need to do for your company to make sure that you can be successful in your target market? If you want to listen to a great podcast episode about strategy, podcast number 9 on the Global Marketing Show, just search for Global Marketing Show on your favorite listening apps or on a browser and look for number 9, Tiffanie Hendricks. She is a former military intelligence officer who went to the private sector, who talks about the strategy that she did for her company on which markets to open up. It's a very good explanation about how they looked at it. You can learn something from her. Number 2 on the 6.5 tips is to look at the process. Sometimes people try to go too big, too fast, and they end up spreading themselves too thin. There's another podcast episode. I'll have to put that in the notes because I can't remember what number it was, but it talked about a company that was small and growing, and they tried to enter all the US markets at the same time, and they ended up failing because they just couldn't leverage in a market. So our recommendation is you start with 1 or 2 markets, you develop the process, and then you can replicate that across the other markets that you want to go into. Some people will start with a smaller country, so they're working with one language and fewer people, and they can work out all the glitches there. Other companies will start with a big market because they want to go big or go home. Either way, it has to align with your strategy and what you're trying to accomplish. Number 3 on our 6.5 tips for successful global marketing is technology. Now, when you're working across so many different time zones, you want to leverage technology for asynchronous communication. Synchronous communication is when you're talking live right now. Asynchronous is I write it now or I record it now and you're watching it later. So some of us are synchronous if you're in here now. Some of us will be asynchronous when they watch these videos later on YouTube. Working internationally, asynchronous communication really helps out people to be able to access the information when they want it. So think about your websites, your written materials. Think about what videos you could record to communicate information. You can even use video calls at off hours so you're really connecting with people. Think about chatbots. They're great to develop in one language and then translate them in the other so you're getting information across. You can use translation memory, which means you have a human translate it once and you pick up the language that matches exactly. So you're making sure to get high quality translation. Do not use machine translation for your marketing. The quality isn't good enough there to connect with your customers, one of those 3 C's that we talked at the beginning. And so you want to think about what technology you can use across your flywheel of attracting, engaging, and delighting your customers. Number 4 on our 6.5 tips is think of the human side. You've got to build a team that's going to do that. So, is it your internal team, and what skills are they going to need to increase? Are you going to use distributors? If you go look at the podcast and listen to episode number 25, Zach Selch is a really well known and successful international sales consultant. He talks about some things to watch out for distributors and what can make good ones. Number 32, so on the podcast, is Grace Preston. She's an international salesperson. She talks about her process. She's based here in the United States and does a lot of travel. You can go with international agents. You can go with employee of record. We're actually hiring there. There's podcasts on all these topics, so you can go in and search for them. How do you lead a diverse team? People who come from different cultures and language. What are some of the things you're going to have to implement to lead a team to rally around the same thing? And on this note, let me just mention the US. If you're in the US and you run a smaller mid-sized company, the Department of Commerce International Trade Department has specialists whose job it is to help people expand and export internationally. If you're interested in getting a personalized introduction to the person in your state, certainly reach out to me on any of the social media platforms or through our website, Rapport Translations, and ask for an introduction. There's a lot of stuff you can do for free with them to help with your exporting. They've got some great stories of companies that they've helped. Number 5 on our 6.5 tips for successful global marketing. Think of the financial side. How are you going to handle payments, currencies, and international, that whole system? Tiffanie Archie of Zonos did podcast episode number 89. She's a wealth of information about how to handle this. So recommend listening to her too. That's Tiffanie Archie, Archie. Again, you can search for that on the Global Marketing Show. And number 6 is dig down deep into global marketing. If you don't know by now, I wrote a book on it because there were so many questions that were coming up that I thought, let's get all this information in one spot so people who are interested in global marketing can read the book. I start out with the opportunity, some countries to think about, how you develop your strategy, and then how you adapt from the country that you're working in. And so now we're getting to our 6.5. Okay, the half part is translation that runs through all of this. You have to do it for global marketing. All the research shows it. English is not the global language. People get offended when you say that. And so if you take the time to translate key material on your attract stage, your engage stage, and your delight stage, then you're connecting with people and giving them the information they need to have. A book of what information can go into each stage is this one, They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. Fantastic on what questions you need to ask. And you can line that up on content you have under attract. Like, what do I need to provide to people to attract them to my website or to use our products? What information when they're considering us and they want to engage with us and learn more? And then how do you delight your clients? Research even shows that if you don't provide after sales support, people aren't going to buy from you again. So let's talk a little bit about the research. 90% of people, even when they're bilingual, want information in their own language. And just imagine yourself, if you somewhat speak a language and you go into a website and you can learn, but you're not going to have that trust of, I really understand what I'm buying here. So 90% of people want information in their native language. Over 76% will spend more time, which makes sense. They get it and they're moving down the buyer's curve and they're going to spend more time really researching what they want. And then over 50% will spend more money if the site is in their website. It's like 56%. So that's quite a bit more if you think how important translation is. So just do it. If you have any questions about translation, or you think it's too hard to do, or you can't check quality, we got a ton of information about that. And I'm always happy to talk to you about it too. So if you found this information helpful, certainly pass it on to somebody else who might be thinking about going international. As we're looking at, economies that can go up and down, when your home market is down, another market may be up. We're rarely in a truly global recession. So if you're worried about a recession in your home market, start thinking about which markets may be growing that you might want to go to. Talked about a ton of podcast episodes to go listen to. If you're interested in learning more, you can look at all the topics. Just Google Global Marketing Show, easy. You can listen to it through your browser, through our website, and you can search for whichever episodes you want. Or you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast and just search for the Global Marketing Show and it'll come up. We launch new episodes all the time and it's downloaded in over 55 countries in the world. So I hope this helps. If you've got anything else that you want to learn about, please let me know. Happy to hop on a quick video call and give you more information. Our goal is to edutain you. So arrivederci for now. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, or you can keep watching. And don't miss out on new posts by subscribing to our channel. And if you want to talk to Rapport International about all your translation and interpretation needs, or about growing your business into new markets, use the link below for a free 30-minute consultation.